Today on What Went Wrong, just one more shot, I promise. Hi, I'm Brett Bowser, and I've made a lot of films, and usually we're complete when we finish principal photography. We usually don't go back and get other shots and things like that. However, in the past, I have had to do that. Today, we are joined from some original Innocent Saga actors from way back ago in 12 years. Matthew Jasso and Ryan Jasso, Lady Lawman herself. When we shot the Innocent Saga, we wanted to shoot all 10 films in 1 year, from October 07 to October of 08, and technically we did that. And I remember that there were a lot of things that I wanted to change, and this isn't working out. I mean, 10 was shot, 10 was done, but it was like, I want to change this. This isn't working out. I got to explain this because we had actors drop out and this, and I hated some actors, and I just got rid of them. And then I was like, I maybe need that person back. So it was a cluster. And I remember having a conversation with you. It's like, well, what do I do? Is that cheating? Because now I've shot the movie, and you were like, no, just call them pickups. Mm-hmm. So all of Chapter 10 wound up being reshot. But there was an original 10. There was a whole, you weren't even in.
I was not in 10.
In the original 10.
I was wrapped after the 1940s stuff.
Yeah, after we left you decaying in the desert. Hot desert.
Yep.
It just went to
you
have a
left
beer.
my body to rot in the hot Texas sun. Yeah, you did that. So after the 1940s stuff, I was wrapped because I remember that was the coolest thing, having you go on the then website and just put like the coolest, nicest rap sheet. It's not a rap sheet, but yeah. Anyway, but yeah. So I wasn't even originally in 10. No.
Yeah. And then there was a whole other thing with Walter and Montoya, and we had those actors cast and shot, and Wes came back to play the Walter character. He was in some stuff, and then one of our producers was dating a girl, and he wound up putting her in, which might have been one of the reasons that we
I'm not sure. There's so much, because I can remember shooting like a completely different ending to 10. Mm-hmm. I remember like a completely different subplot with my character in 10, and just like all kinds of...
And our characters actually being together in 10.
Yeah. Because when we went back and reshot...
Yeah, it was a whole...
You were the person...
Because I wasn't actually
the
same person.
Because I ended up... The information in the scenes that you and I reshot, I'd shot with other actors and other actresses previously, and then they kind of...
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Changes.
So Innocent Saga is sort of, I guess, the really one of my only films that I've ever done pickups. I will use Lady Lawman as an example of a pickup. Okay. There were little shots, and just one shots here and there, and one being in the opening scene with the cabin.
Yes.
We had shot all of that, but there was a shot where my character, I didn't have the bandana on at all until I suddenly walked over to the other two guys. I picked up the dynamite, and I walked over to the other two guys, and suddenly I had the bandana on. Because when Dub and I are shooting out the window, I don't have the bandana on.
Right.
So what I did was I went back 2 weeks later to that cabin, put the dynamite down, and pulled the scarf out of the dynamite, or the dynamite was wrapped in the scarf, and I threw that around me, and then walked over. And that's how I covered up the fact that I didn't have the scarf, and all of a sudden I did have the scarf, which added a little bit to the character. That he's going to go blow two of his buddies up, and that's almost like a souvenir for him that he did that. So it added a little bit to that. So that was a pickup, and then there were there'll be little shots like a cutaway of a badge or something that I would usually do. But how would you define what is a pickup exactly?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because it's like, what's a reshoot? What's a pickup? Like, I kind of feel like a reshoot is while you're making the movie and you realize like when you're in the middle of principal photography, and sometimes you review, like we all know, you review the stuff for the day, or someone's editing and kind of putting things together, and you're like, oh, we forgot this, or hey, that we didn't put on our bandana, or I think one time I didn't put on glasses, or maybe earlier today. So I think that's kind of like a reshoot-ish. But a pickup, in my opinion, a pickup is principal photography is done, post-production is well underway, and we've decided either, hey, we need to alter a storyline, or hey, we need to re-edit this. The edit has changed, because you have that whole rule of a movie's rewritten 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
You write the script, it gets rewritten while you're shooting it, and then it gets rewritten in the editing bay. And I think that's what happened with not 10, but the entire saga. It's like you had written all of them, and then even with the filming, depending on what angle you want to take people's involvement, it's like as you're filming, things are changing, and then
Especially
you're changing
over a
things.
year.
Yeah, especially over a year, and then it takes you almost a year to edit everything, because you were editing as you go, but you still have all these movies you're doing. So I think by the time you got to 10, so much had changed with all of that dynamic that that's when Jake goes like, "Hey, so what are you doing in 2 months?" I don't have orange hair. What do you want? And so I think to me, pickups is we have to fix something in a film. Let's go back and do it. That's, in my opinion, what a pickup is. But I think nowadays with Hollywood, like, they already plan for it. It used to be, oh my gosh, we need to do this. But I think almost every film, and especially like the MCU movies, they already contractually are obligated to come back for pickups. So you don't run into something like what happened with Cavill and Justice League. So yeah, so I think that, and so for me, a pickup is that process. If you want to get into real pickups.
What about you? It's technically, there has to be a technical definition. As an instructor of film, what is there
a pickup would be something that you didn't shoot, would be something that you missed, and then a reshoot would be something that you've taken, you trash it, you throw it out the window, and you redo it.
Okay.
In terms of the film that we just did today, pickups, I think we don't really see what exactly you shoot, but I think that we initiate, or it's really just the one line here or the one line there, or it was the same, it was a different angle of this shot or something like that, and I think that would qualify as pickups.
And that happens more often than not in Hollywood. Men in Black is one of those movies where if you go back into the DVD and watch some of the special features, that movie was a completely different film.
Yeah.
And they went back and altered the story of the entire movie through redubbing and through just like a couple different pickups or reshoots so that they could create this different storyline. So,
well, isn't that some like Suicide Squad? Wasn't that the success of the more humorous kind of stuff was starting to take off? So they tried to go back to this dark movie and insert these jokes, and those
that was
were the
Justice League. Suicide
Justice League?
Squad.
Okay.
They took the film from the director and re-edited it completely to be more with like hip and with what was going on, and that's why like people are like, hey, you should do the Ayer cut, and he's like, no, I don't want anything to do with Warner Brothers or DC anymore. When they were doing when the Snyder cut finally got released, people started doing that hashtag Ayer cut, and he literally tweeted like, no, I'm fine,
no,
I don't want anything to do with it. so no, I mean, besides 10, have you done like extensive pickups or reshoots?
Not really, because usually when I finish a film, I'm done. I don't want to see it again. I don't want to do it again. But that's why I would say I'm more along the lines of pickups being a short thing, where I'm editing and I didn't get a cutaway of this.
right.
Oh, I need to do an insert shot of that. Those are the pickups I'll do.
Or like establishing shots or things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, exactly,
Right.
exactly. Very rarely, I think I would redo a whole scene, and I can't really think of a particularly one at the time. Now, I would say Innocent Saga is a completely different monster.
Yeah.
Because so many things changed as we were going through that film, and then so much so that it just built up. I was doing a reshoot here, reshoot there, and then so many changes that by the time we finished 10, nothing made sense.
Well, you're literally talking about temporary sets
Yeah.
on Innocent Saga, so it's like there's no going back. That's gone.
Yeah, because
it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, because all of it. I think we shot the police station first,
Right.
and then I think we went over to. We might have done the. No, because
the
it
lab?
was the dojo, then the video store. But before that, it was Donovan's office.
Okay.
We did the police station, then moved over into Donovan's office, or either maybe it was Blue Star,
I was gonna say it was a lab.
and then we went into.
Yeah.
I know Donovan's office was early on, and we had tried to get all of his stuff in there, but after Chapter 6, we never see it again. But there were times where I was like, I wish I had
the
Donovan's office. I could have gone back, and this would have worked.
Yeah.
But we just had that small little work building in work shed, whatever you want to call it, out in Lytle,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just exchanging sets, moving. So you didn't have a chance to really do reshoots or pickups, or you would have to change the context of the script to explain why they're in a different location.
Yeah, because it wasn't like going to a location. You were building your location.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and technically we're still doing reshoots and pickups in the saga with what we've done with
Yes.
the series, and turned it into
Yes.
a series, and had our the three of us kind of coming back and reprising those roles and doing the multiverse thing. And there's a the original ending of 10 had sort of this it's all a movie type thing.
Right.
But that's changed, so I don't have to give spoilers or anything, because that's not the way it's going to go now.
It's not that anymore. So
Yeah, but that was always the way it was, and there were seeds planted all the way through, and even in our montage, we did that, which was why when people would say, "Oh, he just painted himself into a quarter, so he did this," it was like, no, here are the freaking beats.
Right.
Yeah. He didn't. I remember a meeting months in advance of even been filming it, saying this is the end, because then I got mad. But nobody listens to me. No.
But it is there were so many things that just changed, and even though it was such a short period of time, 1 year, you're still shooting 10 feature films, and when one thing doesn't go right, it's dominoes, and then that will lead to the pickups that are necessary.
Well, and you're not talking about a cast that you have captive either.
Yeah.
So you've got all these people going about their normal lives and then coming in, and so trying to get them back to a place.
Yeah.
Same time, same,
Well, that's what I was saying.
same
like,
wardrobe. You don't have all the weird people like me who still have literally the same shirt from
Yeah.
13 years ago, whatever.
Which ironically, Ty has you beat on that, because his in Tag Conspiracy, the tie and the trench coat that he has is from the original 1997 version, 1998 version of Tag.
See, so I'm not the only weirdo out there, but most people are not like that. And
Some
so,
of us, grow as adults and bulk out of our outfits, be it this way or this way.
well,
Now, you as a filmmaker yourself, you've had your experience with pickups and reshoots.
I'm on a 60-40%. They actually helped. 60 being kind of like, so Backlash, the last film I consider that I did as far as like a filmmaker's concerned, we did pickups like a year later, and that was. It was more, that one was a little bit different, because it was like, hey, we need more action for this montage, or there's this angle we need to get that we get. Like, it was literally, like, I remember one of the shots was literally...
it didn't change the story you were adding.
Yeah, it was, no, I was going to say, one of them was like, the angle was low and up, and it was after, because when I did Backlash, I got on this diet, got really good shape, and then when I was done with all the shirtless stuff, I just gave up the diet and put on a lot of weight. So there's this one angle where it just looks like I'm like, and I was just like, this is horrible. And we're editing it. So that was like literally just put the camera here, and it was, I just stood on a blank wall and redid these 6 lines. And that was a random pickup, just, vanity pickup, I guess you could say. But a lot of the pickups for that one were just like fight scenes, adding fight scenes for this montage. There was nothing, like you're saying, that we redid. The only thing that got redone as far as story, and that was one of the actresses left completely. So she was taken out of a lot of the scenes she was supposed to be in because she already left. But because you film a movie out of order, you can't tell when you watch the movie. But there was... this one character that was in like 4 or 5 other scenes. She just wasn't there, so we just had to, distribute lines like you do and keep going. But Crosshairs, I don't think we did any pickups on that, really. We did some reshoots, but that was during the process of filming the movie. So by the time it premiered, besides done editing later, there was nothing that we ever reshot. So Hitman's Regret was a movie I'd done before I met you, and it was 45 minutes long, and you were like, hey, maybe we can do something with it. Can you make it feature length? And that was Blaine and I going back and kind of thinking about the story we originally had and things we changed and could we add things. And I think what happened with that is we reshot a couple things, we added things, but because of the stuff we reshot, we had grown as filmmakers. I mean, whatever. But it had been like 2 or 3 years since we'd shot that movie. So everything we reshot just was more efficient. So even though we shot 30 minutes of more footage, 10 of it was redo, or 15 of it was redoing scenes that were already there. So we only made the movie 10 more minutes long, and it didn't get to feature length anyway. And it was like, well, what do we do? Like that, and it just got to that point of there's nothing, without just rewriting the entire script, and because it was not designed to be a feature. We had that storyline. So that was one of those where, pickups. I can't say that. I mean, I'll be honest. I think it was a year and a half ago. I randomly was going through boxes and found a DVD of the original version of Hitman's Regret, and watched it and went, no, I think I actually like this better. Because of some of the other, there was oddly enough, there was a better action scene at the beginning, and then the ending was completely different. Because I think when we did, it sounds weird to say it now, but when we shot Hitman's Regret, it was supposed to be the sequel to Crosshairs. So the storyline had no connectivity to Crosshairs, and it wasn't until after we had finished it and you and I started doing stuff, and we're like, hey, and my friend of mine, again, I think I said this before, hey, you should have a James Bond character where every couple of years you go make a movie about the same guy. And then Crosshairs came back, and it became a sequel instead of a prequel. So when we went back and reshot Hitman's Regret, it kind of did that, setting it up as a prequel to Crosshairs instead of a sequel. If that makes any sense. So you guys all got that? Okay. Anyway, so pickups suck. No, because I think about some of the shorts I've done. I think every time I've ever gone and reshot something, it really has not helped.
I was just about to ask, have you ever regretted getting pickups, or it always just seemed like a waste of time?
Well, and I think the problem is especially with reshoot. Well, I'll say it this way. With reshoots at our level is 9 times out of 10 what happens is oh, we need to reshoot this because something was wrong in the background, or somebody wasn't wearing the right thing, or whatever thing that needs to be fixed. And then you go back and you fix it and you edit it and you're okay, everybody's right, but this thing was wrong. And then suddenly now what you reshot it, but
it has its own problem.
You have a different problem.
Yeah. Right.
So because there was this actually kind of funny Hitman's Regret. There was a scene that we had to go back and reshoot because we realized we missed a close-up of somebody. So we went back and reshot part of the scene, and then finished it and went back and started editing it and realized oh, I forgot in the scene she gives the jacket back, but I leave without the jacket. It was just, so how did I leave without the jacket, but then in the next scene I have the jacket? So it was just ah! So, just stuff like that where you're come on. Or when we did the reshoot for what you had asked and redoing this one scene, and it ended up being a better scene but had technical difficulty. Mm-hmm. So then it was well, yeah, this is cooler, but now you've got this weird discoloration in the film. So, yeah, the Hitman's Regret just should never see the light of day. That's the lesson in today's episode.
What is your take on it? Have you worked on the films that have had, aside from the Saga where you were the actress, but have you been behind the scenes, and has there been a meeting of the minds? Are we going to reshoot this? Are we going to redo this?
A little bit.
I think when the reshoots came along, that was basically all Matthew, because he was working with the editor and having to deal with whatever he was seeing in the process that needed to be done.
Yeah.
Like when we were working on Backlash.
Yeah.
But as a like doing producer work on that, my hands were not really in that that part of it. Most of the people that I was dealing with at that point were done filming.
Well, and it was different too because like I said, the pickups that we did for Backlash were literally like, hey, Albert, get me 3 guys we can beat up somewhere. And then just showing up and just the things that she was doing for the film was making sure there was continuity and all this, but because this is all new stuff, it was like, wear whatever you want because this connects to nothing. There's no dialogue, so we're not script supervising, we're not doing that. So you were there for that.
Yeah.
But it was not... Yeah, it was 4 fight scenes and a dialogue thing for me, and I think there was like one little... I can't remember the other... Oh, it was handcuffs. I was getting a bunch of handcuffs to do the quick the quick edit.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So literally all right, here's this line of 5 people. All right, go. Handcuff them. Okay, cool. Move the camera. Handcuff. Dumb crap like that. So...
But when you're talking about, for me... continuity and those kind of things, when you're talking about I can't deal with the idea unless you're talking about a reshoot, which you've scrapped whatever it is that you had done and you're starting fresh, go for it. But yeah, I haven't been involved in any of that until anything that I've done for the saga that's been, if you consider pickups at that point. So yeah, there's nothing like doing a pickup 12 years later where you walk in a completely different person.
Well, and that's
but luckily, you're supposed to be a completely different person, so it's okay.
Now I have when we started looking at the Innocent Saga and whatnot again, I actually went back and I bought an old XL2, Canon XL2, so that if I ever needed to shoot something that would match what we shot on back then, I would have it.
Right.
And I have yet to need to do it, but it is something that can still pop up. You know, so that's those are the little things.
That is a technical aspect, that most people don't think about.
But and when it comes to the independent guy, I think you hit it on the head. There is you have to ask yourself, do you really need this? Or, is it going to make a difference? And then line yourself up to the problems that could arise. Yeah. Because you may be doing this to solve a continuity problem, but you may be creating a whole new one when you get over there. Yeah. Especially with when you're not paying actors thousands of dollars to keep their hairstyle the same way for 6 months or whatever, or the hairstylist that can come in and fake that look and put a wig on and the goatees and everything.
Or the guy sits at the table like this to hide his beard.
Yeah.
And that's something for me that whenever I'm, constantly text you about things that you don't care about, which is like my hair or wardrobe or whatever, but it's because of continuity, stuff like that. And it could be, a month or 2 later, but I want to make sure before I do whatever this is, I want to make sure that you're done with whatever you need my brown hair for. Now I'm going to let it go gray for, let it go natural, let it go gray for whatever we're doing that's supposed to be later on in life or whatever. So when I shave my head, it won't be, wait, what? We needed pickups for Lady Lawman. Well, I'm sorry. I am bald now. So
you have a brown wig that I can put under the hat.
Sorry about that. There are no pickups. It's just I know when I send you the picture and you go, well, guess there's not a sequel to Lady Lawman. Well, you knew this was coming because of Diane. So we'll see.
If it's going to help the story, then give it a shot. But be aware.
Or help the flow.
Yeah.
Do more planning than you did the first time, and you won't have to. It should be better.
Become a better scriptwriter.
Hey, come on, man. Let's not push too many buttons here.